the channel, please subscribe. So let's go. Okay, so today I'm here to talk to you about assimilation. I don't know if you guys know what assimilation is, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a description here of what assimilation is. Okay, so assimilation is to absorb ideas and concepts into your already existing ideas and concepts. So the way that you think about the world and the way you navigate in the world, and then absorbing something that comes from outside of you into your life, into your routine. I'm going to give you an example. Well, my family comes from Cape Verde in Guinea, but when we used to live in Portugal, which was where I was born, we lived in a ghetto. And in this ghetto, the first language you learn is Creole. Well, most of the countries that were colonialized and have a pidgin language. So we spoke Creole in that neighborhood, and I spoke Creole at a really young age. So then what happened was we moved to a different neighborhood. I was in an apartment building and I went to school, and in school we were taught Portuguese. And then what happened was at home I would speak Creole, and in school I would speak Portuguese. But then it seemed like some of my family members decided that, you know, we really need to speak Portuguese because it's the language that we should speak because we live in Portugal. So then we kind of stopped speaking Creole, basically. That's exactly what happened. We would speak Portuguese in the house. We would only speak Creole to our friends. So then what happened was my family moved to the UK. We moved to Manchester when I was 8. I had to do that process all over again. So I had to learn English. I had to then be in the English school system and all these things. Then my African identity got pushed aside, and I became, in England, I'm considered to be Portuguese. But in Portugal, I'm African. Okay? And in Africa, you can be seen as European. It doesn't make a difference to me. I know I'm African. But what I'm saying is, because I was living in these different places, my identity and my language had to change. So I had to adopt the language in the country in which I lived in. So first it was Portuguese, and then now it's English. And now predominantly I speak more English than Portuguese because, as we know, English is the first language of the world. You know? The point of this story is to say that because I had to adopt other languages in order to survive and communicate in the world that I live in, which is a Western world, my African language got put aside. And therefore, I had to adopt someone else's culture, because language is the way in which we communicate, and it's also a way in which our ideas or representations about the world are communicated across to other people. And if we share the same ideas, we share the same culture. So if I speak a different language to people who come from the same culture as me, we no longer have shared ideas. Okay? So I speak English. I act like the British. So what then happens is, when I go back home, is like the communication system is no longer there. Yes, I still speak Portuguese, and yes, I still understand the African language, but I can no longer communicate in the African language. And therefore, I have assimilated myself into British culture. Does that make sense? So I'm no longer, I've kind of lost myself in this process of assimilation. The culture that I had once is still here, but now I have to work backwards in order to get it back. Okay? Because when you assimilate into another culture, you have to let go of yours. When you let go of your culture and you adopt this new culture, what then happens is you lose your power, because culture is a form of resistance to domination. So we need to know what Sankofa is. Sankofa, for you to go back and get what you have back there for you to use it at the front, for you to know where you're going. You need to turn back to see where you're going. Because when you turn back, you see what you've done. And when you see what you've done, you move forward and you make something new, and you develop, you construct on the things from the past. If we have no clue what our past looks like, how in the hell are we going to construct anything? This is for real. This is a real question. I'm actually asking you a real question. If you have no clue where you come from, who you are as a people, yeah, how are we going to build anything else for our kids, for our grandchildren, for our great-grandchildren? How are we going to do that? So this is why the video is talking about assimilation, because assimilation is something that affects us in everyday life. It affects the way we look at ourselves, because if you live in a world where it wasn't made for you, okay? The system we live in was not made for me. It wasn't made for you as a black person, as a person who is Mexican, Latina. If you are Asian, it wasn't made for you. It was made for white people. If it was made for white people, what happens is we do not see reflections of ourselves within this system. In my next video, I'll be talking about what is culture and why is culture important. I'll be talking about that. So this video is more about kind of telling people what things are and how they affect us, making people more aware. So making ourselves aware of what actually affects us as a people in our everyday situation. Even though we know it affects us, we are not very aware of what it's doing. So that's why this video is here. So please, please, please put a like on the video if you like it, and put a comment if you want to say anything to me, if you have any questions. And yeah, subscribe to my channel, man. Subscribe. Please subscribe to my channel. I want it to grow. And yeah, so it's been very nice. Peace and love, guys. Peace and love.